When the NASCAR Super Truck Series made its debut season in 1995, one of the many West Coast short tracks that it paid a visit to was Mesa Marin Raceway, then a half-mile oval in the northeast corner of Bakersfield, California. While that track no longer exists now, a new half-mile oval has been built on the other side of the city, well and far away from the city itself. This is Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway, opened in 2013 as the spiritual successor to that old half-mile speedway. And this weekend, the AWSCO Snapdragon Continental Series, alongside the Cup Series, makes its final West Coast swing, as the Continental Series field gets ready to start the second to final round of the inaugural postseason, round 37 of 40 for the MMI Oil Workers 250 here today. It'll be 250 laps and 125 miles around one of the more unique half mile short ovals we're going to see in this schedule this season. Of course, this track being one of the newer short ovals that have been built lately. It comes with one of the newer trends that came about in oval racetrack development that came out around this time, which is the use of progressive banking. This is one of the few short ovals of its size that uses progressive banking on the corners, and that's certainly one of the defining features of this track. I think the corners are extremely wide here at Kern County, and that's one of the complexities about this track that make it one of the most interesting short tracks on the AWSCO Continental Series schedule. Hello, everybody, and welcome. I'm Russia, and you're watching the AWSCO Snapdragon Continental Series on ESN. As we're here in the FanDuel Fan Studio for the pre-race show. Once again, I am joined by Ellie here in the studio with me. After going on about this track for a little bit there, seeing the track itself and almost the way when I see this track, this is when I see this track, it kind of reminds me of a bowl a bit with the progressive banking. It's definitely oddly shaped. It doesn't look like a conventional short oval when you look at it compared to other short ovals, especially on the West Coast around here. Like, went to Irwindale not too long ago. That's a track with not as much banking, I don't think. I'll have to double check that, but when you see the progressive banked corners here at Kern County and the width of the corners itself, what do you think of how do you think that's going to affect the racing we're going to be seeing here?
I think the racing should be pretty interesting here. I mean, it's one of the few half miles we run here that have pretty decent banking, and that should make it really interesting. I know they also have a dirt track right here too as well, which is just a cool fun fact about this track. I think with the banking in play at a small racetrack like this, it's definitely going to make things a bit more chaotic, I feel. And I think that is definitely going to be something to look out given how far we are into the playoffs now.
Yeah, given how far we're into the playoffs, we'll see how that combination of short track racing plus the hectic nature of the postseason will do for this. We've already been to Martinsville, which was slightly over a half mile. This track is half mile flat, so it is going to be the shortest racetrack we'll go to on this during the postseason here, and that's something I think that's definitely something that'll play a role. We've seen a lot of not quarter mile, I should say, half mile and slightly under half mile racetracks already this season, but we haven't seen a pure half mile short track since Five Flags, really, all the way back in round 21 in the Summer Derby. So it's been a while. We've had other short tracks, of course, but they've been different in their own ways. Maybe IRP is the closest thing we've gotten to a track that acts like a regular short track, quote unquote, since we've come back here. Of course, Oswego, another track that's like that as well. where it's a more conventional pill-shaped short oval. But otherwise, the rest of the short ovals we've come into here in the last 15 races or so have all been different shapes and sizes. So, kind of back to more traditional ways here for this race here at Kevin Harvick's Kern Speedway, and of course can't mention this race at Kern County without mentioning Kevin Harvick, one of the paragons of West Coast stock car racing, an absolute legend in the NASCAR circles, of course, and lots of drivers looking to carve their own story here. Lots to talk about. Of course, opening the second to final round, the penultimate round of the playoffs. Just 10 drivers remain with a chance at taking things to Homestead for the championship race. At the end of these next 3 races, of course, 10 will become 5, and those 5 will be the ones that race for the inaugural AWSCO Continental Series championship. And just like that, of course, with the way the points resets are done in this series, everything's flattened out once again. Everybody covered by 3 points in the Continental Series postseason field as we look to roll on here for the final 3 races. Kern County, of course, this first one. Atlanta, the second race, big pack race at a 1.5 mile track. And then Rockingham, which is going to be, I think, in terms of the driving characteristics, the most unique of the racetracks in this in this round.
Yeah, especially with the field here and how they ended up qualifying as well. It's definitely something to look at in terms of where everybody placed. And I think you could say this about any driver up there. They all deserve to be there. Now it's kind of the time to where we're going to have to see how well they can keep performing like they performed prior to get to where they are right now. And the thing is that there's obviously going to be drivers who might not do that great today, but they still have other races, not so many left, but they still have other races to kind of show up and prove themselves still, that they can still manage to keep themselves up here and make great performances. The thing is, it's just getting so competitive, and I think it's very interesting to see where the drivers qualified. I mean, the playoff drivers, Rachel Ramos, Katrin Edelstein, they're all like in kind of spread all out over the field.
Yeah, one important thing to note, of course, as we're running at a half mile or shorter track, is that some of the half mile and shorter tracks, I should say, that we're using the modified pit rules, where it's semi-competitive pit stop. So under yellow you can gain or lose positions on pit road, but you can't lose a lap on pit road. So everyone will retain the lap they were on relative to the rest of the field at the time of caution. That's the modified rules that we use here for racetracks with smaller pit lanes in the Continental Series. So that's another important thing. We've seen these modified rules at a few other short tracks this season, but I think this is the first time in a while we've used this in the series. So I think kind of important to note that particular aspect of it. So that's something to keep track of course. And yeah, if you look at the starting lineup here, actually, good time to look at that. Good time to look at the starting lineup right now. Lots of our playoff drivers are all spread out in different places here and there. Only a few of them are in the top 10 though. Just Rachel Ramos and Freya von Lundquist starting 7th and 10th respectively. Though Edelstein is right there alongside, starting one row behind von Lundquist in 12th place. And looking at our front row, it's a pair of drivers that have have really been heating up in terms of form the last few weeks. Of course, Jackie Kennedy's had an excellent run in the last during this postseason, even though she didn't make it. She still sits as the by far the first driver sitting outside the playoffs, 59 points ahead of Hieda Yoko in 12th place in the drivers' points. But that 12th car is still in the hunt for the owner's title, 45 points out for the owner's title, which is using a full season format. And of course, filling in for Reina Munoz, of course, it's Fazenda in the number 7 Macmillan Enterprises car. That car is also in the top 10 in the owner's points. Of course, also top 10 in the owner's points. Munoz made the playoffs, but of course was injured in the round 1 opener at Oswego. Still sidelined for the time being, but Fazenda's done quite well in her starts. Filling in for her, run pretty well. Got herself a third place finish at Talladega. Starts at the front here, and we'll see what she can do from that pole position. Looking at the rest of the top 10, Takamoto Aya and Latanya Gray on row 2. Of course, Gray typically great on these short tracks. Jennifer Wilson and Karina Willis-Callaway on row 3. Rachel Ramos, Charlie McCarron, row 4. And then Maya Shelby and Freya von Lundquist in row 5. And yeah, I mentioned this when we started taking a look at this field, but lots of our playoff drivers are starting further back. I mean, just 3 of them starting in the top 12. Everyone else is kind of... And just 4 in the top 20, actually. Deborah Williams in 17th, the only other playoff driver in the top 20. Everyone else is starting outside of the... basically in the second half of the field, basically. So that's definitely something to pay attention to, I think.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think you really want to be starting out towards the back on a short track like this, but looking at who is starting all the way back out there, I could see them making their way up there, like Izzy Oberman and Naomi Davenport. Davenport, she kind of doesn't really need to qualify too well at any track. It seems like any track she hits, if she qualifies badly, if she qualifies great, she can make her way through the field.
Yeah.
The thing is she is starting on the inside, which is going to make it easier. Which is
going to help,
her.
Yeah.
It's definitely going to make it easy for her and easy for Izzy Oberman and for Vinnie Schultz. Now it's starting on the outside with Lynn Oswell and Cassidy Jones. I'm kind of worried about.
Sorry, what was that?
I was saying, starting on the outside, Lynn Oswell and Cassidy Jones is more so who I'm worried about not being able to make that many positions up. Especially on a track like this, it's very hard to kind of get around anybody. Everybody's immediately shooting down to the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to be, even with the progressive banking, the bottom lane is going to be the most useful at this track, because there is a lot of the higher bank sections at this track are way on the outside, and you can see. You'll be able to see here if you look at the live picture we're getting here of the grid. As you can see here, they're lined up on the backstretch. You can see how the turns almost kind of fan out. You can see the exit of 2. You can see how the part where the corner is almost fans out. It's actually a little wider than the straightaways themselves. That's what I mean when I say the track's corners are extremely wide. But that kind of bit of racetrack isn't really particularly useful unless you're really trying to slingshot your way around. But I don't think you're gonna see very much of that here today.
Yeah, I don't think you'll get enough momentum to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. You might try to run it like a Beyblade or something, kind of yeet it around, you know. But yeah, if you look at the car starting out back, playoff drivers starting out back, Oberman, Schultz, Davenport, Jones, all of those drivers are the drivers that I would think of when it comes to the drivers that are able to kind of get results at any kind of track, no matter where they start. I mean, Oberman, Schultz, and Davenport have been extremely consistent in their at all types of tracks, and Cassidy Jones has had her share of great results as well, of great runs as well. So it'll be important for them to have a good run here, of course, at Kern County. So that's going to be, I think that's going to be the main key to the race here. Is just obviously to kind of maybe pick off some positions at the start of the race, kind of make sure you do obviously another key point is to just stay either on the lead lap or as few laps down as possible if you're starting out back there. If you run into trouble, of course, damage control is another important bit of that. That's another thing that damage control can do a lot of, can really help when it comes to these drivers. But at this point in time, with only 10 cars left in the playoffs, in the playoff hunt, it is going to be the bar is certainly going to be raised, and you're going to have to be close to perfect the entire way, I think, to have a shot at the title at come Homestead Miami. And with that, we'll take you now to the booth for the start of the race. It'll be Echo and Madison, I believe, and Madison in the booth calling the race here today. I've been Rasha. Thank you for being in the studio with us here. And with that, the start of the race coming right up.
And welcome to Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. You're a bit east or a bit west of Bakersfield in the oil fields and the farmlands of the Central Valley. It's the MMI Oil Workers 250 here from the Kevin Harvick's Kern Raceway. I'm joined by Madison in the booth. You're pretty local to this area. How do you feel about this race, and what are you expecting?
Well, you're definitely right. I am local to this area, and this is, out of all the tracks that we have on the Continental schedule, I think this is the one that I'm by far the most familiar with. So it's really just special to be back here and a place that I know pretty well, and to be able to have that sort of insight. And honestly, yeah, I'm really excited to see just how this race is going to go. Short Tracks have put on a great show throughout the Continental Series, and I don't see why this will be any different. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a very, very fun race. And I think we're going to see a lot of action, a lot of short track action, a lot of bumping and banging, but also a lot of good racing here in this one, because this is a track that rewards, well, it just rewards being clean, having good lines, and just staying on it. Let's go through our starting grid here from Kern County. In row 1, Faye Zanda, the driver who stepped in for Reina Munoz for the remainder of the season, took the pole. A surprising pole for the driver of the 7 car, but something that she's looking forward to maybe taking to next season as well. And on her outside, it's the 12 of Jackie Kennedy. Row 2 is the 11 Takamoto Aya and the 65 Latanya Gray. Row 3 is the 60 of Jennifer Wilson and the 99 Karina Willis-Callaway. Row 4, playoff driver Rachel Ramos in the 2, alongside the 10 of Charlie McCarron. Row 5 is the 5 of Maya Shelby and the 42 Freya von Lundquist, the 2 teammates. Row 6 is the 81 of Alice Hageman and the 14 Katrin Edelstein. Row 7, the 6 of Mila Chestina and the 77 of Rose Lockport. Row 8 is the 51 Sandy Martell and the 44 Lulu Connie. Row 9 is the 55 Deborah Williams and the 45 Liz Roberts. Row 10, the 95 Cara Reynolds and the 0 of Hieta Yoko. Row 11 is the 66 Ani Starchev and the 59 of Abby Buchanan. Row 12, the 84 Tammy Bird and the 96 of Lynn Oswell. Row 13 is the 88 Brenda Davis and the 54 of Michaela Kirkland. Row 14, the 04 Emily Tremblay-Vaudrey and the 25 of Kathy Ableton Perez. Row 15, the 31 Lori Ramirez and the 24 of Ashley Johnson. Row 16, the 93 Izzy Overman and the 82 of Zoe Quinton. Row 17, 62 Vinnie Schultz and the 4 of Cassidy Jones. Row 18, the 22 Naomi Davenport and the 46 Bridget Purcell. And row 19, the 64 Maimi Moriyama and the 38 of Isabella Fitzmaurice. Now, if you're one of those playoff drivers that's starting out back, how do you want to handle this race, especially early on when it's going to get crazy, because a lot of people are going to be trying to make up positions. It's going to be double file in the start, so they're going to be aggressive. If you're one of those playoff drivers in the back, how do you avoid the chaos?
Well, we've noticed, or at least I've noticed, that with late models that race here pretty often, that the races tend to be pretty methodical, and just staying out back is just save your tires and then make your way toward the front later, which is, I think, the MO here. Like, you do have a lot of room in the corners to fan out and make moves, but that narrows up incredibly quickly on corner exit, and that can definitely lead to some kerfuffles off of both turn 2 and turn 4. So I think just minding your P's and Q's early on and then making up the ground when you can later is the way to go.
And this being our last short track of the year, there's going to be some drivers who want to prove something because we've visited a lot of short tracks here in the Continental Series. This is it. This is their last standalone event of the year. The final 3 races are all companion events with the Windows Cup Series. So a lot of these drivers want to make that mark before they head through the next 3 weeks and battle for that title. Well, with that being said, do you have any real ideas as to who you think might be one of the best cars here tonight?
Drivers, start your engines!
Well, definitely no one's we take the green, but I think out of all the cars out here, it's pretty easy to pick the front-running ones. And with the races we have seen here across different series, it's the cars that start up front that tend to win. So I don't see any reason to see why this will be different.
Zanda and Kennedy will lead them to the green here in Kern County, and the green flag is out. We are racing at Kern Raceway.
Good jump for that inside line as expected.
3 wide already in the back. Again, they'll get 3 wide. They'll get antsy like this, but as long as they're not running into each other, it should be okay. Zanda leads the opening laps. They're 3 wide back here. This is with Shelby, Willis Calloway, and Gray.
Gray getting forced up on that outside line, losing a lot of positions there. Still 3 wide on the bottom, at least briefly.
She'll be able to get down to 2, but still, you don't want to be stuck on that outside lane. I mean, you could fight for a little bit, but you can't fight for very long up there. Which is kind of what we've seen with a lot of short tracks. It's just kind of hard to make the outside work. You can do it, but it's hard to make it work.
And you see that with the color of the pavement too. See how
Whoa, we got a cars around. It's the 22.
Hard into that inside
Around into the inside wall.
It's not out yet.
Yeah, no yellow. Looks like we're staying green. Yep, we're staying green.
As I have been saying, you see the color difference in the pavement on the inside and outside lines. That's just where you tend to run, because yes, there is more banking on those high lines, but it's just so far out of the way that there's no point.
I think the race officials know if we get a yellow early, that's going to cause just a lot of kerfuffling about with a lot of these cars, and I think they don't want to risk it because that 22 car clearly is not that damaged. I don't know if she hit that wall I don't know if she hit the wall very hard. Like, this car looks fairly okay.
Yeah, it was a bit of a lick, but not too bad. Just spun around and hit it with the side and just continued, so shouldn't be too damaged.
Back here, there's LaTanya Gray battling with Katrin Edelstein. The top about 13 cars are single file right now, including there's last week's winner, Tammy Bird in the 84. Winner at Martinsville. A very strong performance she had at Martinsville last week, and I think she wants to build on that.
Yeah, good start here. Made up, 11, 10 positions from her starting position out on row 12?
Yeah. Yeah, right now it's kind of getting to that point where I think it's kind of at that point where you're just kind of settling in right now, just trying to get laid back into the race a little bit. But here comes Mila Chestina, who won the last short track before Martinsville. She won back at Oswego. She's challenging Charlie McCarron for the 8th position.
I think she'll get it done in turn 3 by the looks of it. Already pulling ahead significantly in turn 2.
And I think
And yeah, definitely going to be clear off 4.
that's something else you're going to see here is that as the runs go a little bit longer, as the runs get deeper, you're going to see cars be more comfortable making moves. There's a car blowing up on the apron. That is the 64 of Moriyama.
That is a car that is definitely not comfortable making moves anymore.
Well, there's no moves to be made out of that car except the move to the garage. So there's a...
Yeah, that's it for the night. Quite a bit of stuff going on back here, I presume, caused by that engine blow up.
There's a lot. There's a big stack up. They're 3 wide through a lot of cars back here. I'm not sure what happened there.
3x3 might as well be.
Battle for the lead. Here comes Takamoto Aya in the 11 car.
Yeah, and I believe the 59 up ahead did come off of pit road, but now Aya is in the lead and could take another lap car down.
I think the 59 and the 4 might have had some sort of incident because those two both came down pit road, and I think that might have been what stacked up this field, is those cars coming to pit road. They almost looked at going 4 wide there. We have had that change for the lead, though. Takamoto Aya's taking it away from Faye Zanda. And Aya's looked like a car that can battle on the short tracks. She just hasn't been able to finish it out. She won the pole back at IRP and looked very strong throughout that race. There you have 2 teammates right here. That's Jackie Kennedy and Jennifer Wilson fighting for the 4th position. Maya Shelby's climbing up through here as well.
Looks like the 60 had a pretty good run off the corner for being stuck on the outside. The 5 did not get the chance that she thought she might have there.
There's Brenda Davis, winner at Talladega 2 weeks ago. She's sitting in the 9th position. And again, Davis has actually run pretty solidly in this 88 car since she stepped into it. She failed to qualify for the first couple of races she attempted, but
Yeah,
she won at Talladega. She won at Talladega, and now and she ran fairly solidly at Martinsville last week before she had an issue take her out.
Yeah, running in the top 10 here too. Of course, you'll remember that Davis was out for much of the season after getting a suspension, then being dropped by the team, and then having to serve the suspension before getting to return. So it took a bit of time to adjust for sure, but now that she's in the car again, doing pretty well.
Oh, by the way, Naomi Davenport, because the field got all stacked up, she's actually gained a bunch of positions. She's actually climbed up to 27th now because she passed a lot of these cars. The leaders are closing in on these cars, which are lappers pretty much. These cars are laps down. Right now, scored as the first car lap down is actually the 4 of Cassidy Jones. The 59 actually exited, where the 59 exited, she actually exited to become, she exited in front of the leaders as a lap car, so she's actually on the brink of going 2 laps down.
Heard as much. This is a fairly slow pit road here at Kern Raceway, and the
Very
inside and
awkward one,
outside,
too.
The entry and exit of pit roads, I should say, are pretty unique for sure.
It's
So
a very,
surprising.
it's a very awkward pit road to get onto as well, because it's a double-sided pit road, kind of like well off of the track surface. So it's a bit strange to get onto the pit road here. Meanwhile, here comes Jennifer Wilson. She just got past Kennedy, and now she's trying to take a spot away from. She's trying to take the 3rd position away from Rachel Ramos.
Looks like Kennedy should also have a chance at 4.
Yeah, Kennedy, I think, is going to follow that 60 car in, but the 2 is holding steady on the outside right now.
Ellie, what have you got on the 64?
Yeah, it looks like the gearbox went on that car, which is unfortunate for her. It's very early on in the race as well, so she didn't get to do much.
A real shame, especially at a short track where you're really not shifting that much from 3rd to 4th and so on around the racetrack. But Yeah, definitely a lot of good battles happening up in that top spot. So you're seeing the 7 here work on a lap car.
This is a fairly rough track, so I wonder if maybe just something kind of rattled in the transmission enough, or maybe it just kicked up something into the transmission that just broke the gearbox. But I don't know.
I believe it. Fast track too, so it's definitely pretty demanding on all those parts to function right.
Yeah, this is one of the faster half miles we go to.
Yeah, I see their speeds in the corner. They're getting down to about 80 miles an hour, and that's their minimum.
Yeah, that's the minimums, are about 85. How about, I like to point out Vinny Schultz right now. She's running 19th. She started way back in 33rd position, so she's made up a good amount of positions on the field.
Yeah, definitely. This track has got quite a bit better racing as contact between teammates there racing for third. Looks like Kennedy should be clear off of turn number 4 at this rate, but as I was saying, the racing at this track has naturally got significantly better as the track has aged over the last 13 years, especially with that progressive banking.
Yep. And the other thing as well to point out here is that I see as Kennedy was in Wilson, we're battling, but this track in the desert, so it kind of gets a little bit sandblasted, and that makes the track surface a lot rougher. I mean, it's not like as deserty as some other parts of California, but the area here is fairly dry throughout most of the year, so.
It's not really like your desert, like the Mojave Desert across the mountains. It's more like it's dry. That's about it.
It's arid.
Yeah, arid, definitely.
I think that's another thing,
but it's undoubtedly dry.
though, that we're going to see here is that as they get into the lap traffic, it's going to become easier to make moves. Cars are going to get held up. It's going to be harder for them to get around cars, which means it's going to be easier for cars to close in on you and make those moves to try and take their shot at it. We're seeing Faye Zanda get challenged. I mean, she's still been holding on to second right now, but I'm not sure how long she's going to hold on to second because she's got the 12 behind her, the 60s here. There's the 2 of Rachel Ramos.
Yeah, and you had lockdown teammates that were racing each other for the sort of position.
Not for position.
Not for position, but physically on track there, side by side for some reason. Now Buchanan is going, is that 2 laps down? Or no,
she's 2 laps down now.
She's going 2 laps down to the rest of the field, yes.
And the 59 kind of got, I don't know what happened exactly to put her and the 4 car down pit road, but it's really going to hurt them. There's Cassidy Jones, and I think Jones, it's either Jones exiting or slowing down to come to pit road that stacked up a bunch of that field behind her. Because pretty much that entire stack up was behind the 4 car.
Because again, it is a very awkward pit exit where you have to go super slowly around the wall that shuts out for the pit area in turn 1, and then you have to go around the apron and then back up on the backstretch. It is just really weird.
Yeah, just have a look at that. That's the pit road. It's a very awkward pit road. Zanda's being challenged by Kennedy at the moment. These 2 started on the front row. 12 car has been looking on the 7 car to try to maybe make a move, but nothing's come of it yet. See if maybe the 12 can kind of intimidate the 7 out of the way. The 11's also been catching up to some lap traffic, and that could help these cars catch up. The 12 is looking to the inside. She's going to force it open, and she will take that spot away. The 10 of McCarran just passed the 5 of Shelby. Here's the 6 of Mila Chestina. She's just passed a bunch of cars all there. She actually went from 10th to 8th in that lap, so she passed 2 cars on that lap. And Mila Chestina, she's also been subbing in the 42 in the Cup Series as well, just kind of trying to keep that team, just trying to give them a little bit more information, just see what their car's up to. She's been doing very well in that 42 car in the Cup Series. She ran well in Martinsville. She actually sat on the outside pole in that race. Didn't get to finish it, unfortunately. But she's ran well there, and she's run pretty well so far in the Cup Series at Laguna Seca, although she did qualify out back.
Yeah, definitely a bit of commute from down here near Bakersfield to up there near Monterey. So it's kind of a lot to do that all in one weekend, but able to do it at least.
It's not as bad as some other trips we've had.
Definitely not. Also, we go to Watkins Glen is also pretty far, plus the different track types as well.
To be fair, she only stepped in the 42 at Martinsville, so.
Oh, I know. That's just another example of a long
Yeah.
trip between tracks.
And long trip between tracks. Try whatever the companion race to Motegi was. It
That
wasn't
was-
Motegi. It was
Well, definitely not.
it was
Continental.
Chicagoland. You know, from what I recall, I don't think Japan's very close to Chicago.
Oh, not really. It's a hop, skip, jump. It's just down the road.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's definitely further from LA back to Riverside, that's for sure. Feels like it.
By what method of transportation are we talking here?
Well, walking. I don't know.
Kennedy's started to get into the lap cars as well now, and Aya's kind of been just shuffled in with these lap cars. She made that move on the 7 to Xanda, but so far that's really been all. See Wilson looking on the 7 car now, trying to make a move. She's going to try to take it to the inside in turn 1, and she'll get there, and she will take the spot away. So that's 3rd place for Jennifer Wilson now.
Already clear going into turn 3 practically. And
No, the
it's
7
back
car
on the outside.
sticking to the outside.
Usually it's audio goodbye on the outside if you're on that outside line in turn 4, but not for the 7.
By the way, I'd just like to point out the car that has the fastest lap right now is the 22 car, and she set that fastest lap after she spun. So this car clearly not affected by any damage that might have happened. She's just kind of stuck in a bunch of cars right now.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it whacked something into the right place. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. There's Rachel Ramos now making a move on Xanda. Again, this is the highest running playoff car. There's only 10 playoff cars left in the field, but playoff cars are definitely still going to be competitive. There's a couple of our mid-season entries battling each other, Chistina and Shelby. Just seeing back here, there's Tammy Bird in the 84 car, making a move on Deborah Williams. There's Charlie McCarron now trying to get around Faye Xanda. You know, one thing I'm kind of curious about, I wonder is the 11 really the fastest car here right now? Or there's maybe some cars that might be a little faster that are just kind of held up at the moment.
Yeah, it's hard to tell, especially with all the lap cars that you get around here at this track. But I think I was going to say if the 12 passes the 45 and it looks like it'll happen, then we'll see if Aya really is the fastest up ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that 12 car may have something for the 11. She's actually been closing even while they're in lap traffic. Although, granted, that's probably a lot of that is the lap traffic hurting the 11 as well.
Now, my question is Kennedy even the fastest car on the track? Because I think you could put an argument for about 3 or 4 drivers out there. It's just a question of lap traffic and being able to get around it. I think that really defines it.
In the top 10, the fastest last time was actually the 5, so. But now the 12 gained a little bit of time again. And you see, the 12 is also, she kind of got held up by being sent behind those lap cars as the 2 car of Rachel Ramos makes a diving move on Jennifer Wilson here for the 3rd position.
Yeah, that was definitely witty and well timed, and we'll see if she can get it done up ahead. Let me see up there. Yeah, there is some lap traffic that'll interfere with it, particularly Ashley Johnson, but looks like lap traffic is going to be worse for Wilson.
Aya now fighting.
Aya forcing Izzy Oberman out of the way.
Yep, that's
with lap traffic.
That's a teammate there. The 93 is, so gotta be careful trying to get through all that.
Yeah, you see Kennedy's closed right up.
Quite surprisingly, we've gone the first 64 laps of this race entirely under green.
I wouldn't really say surprising. If you look at some of the late model races that we have here at Kern Raceway, they definitely tend to go for very long stints without a caution. It's just later that things tend to go awry. But
to be fair, it's this series. It's this series,
AWSCO, yeah.
so I'm not exactly...
It's not surprising by track standards. It is surprising by series standards.
Here comes Kennedy. Dives to the inside of the 11. Going for the race lead.
We'll see if I can hold it on the outside here. Whether it's an AWSCO buy or hold on, I'm still here for the lead moment. And it's definitely the former. I think Kennedy's going to be just about clear in turn 3.
She is. 12 car to the lead. And there's your second lead change of the day. Jackie Kennedy now out front. And it could be a while before we see anybody challenge that 12 car. Here's a fight for 7th place. Chistina against Shelby. And the 11's still stuck on the outside now, behind some lap cars at the moment, actually.
Well, I think you're right about the 11 not being the fastest on the racetrack. Now we'll see if the 12 really is. That was almost half a second gain. I'm pretty much sold at this point that the 12 is the fastest, at least at this point.
I mean, again, the 11 still was stuck on the outside for a good chunk of that, so I think the 11's going to have... Again, I think the big thing will be how does the 11 perform. Now she's still a little bit slower, though.
Yeah, I think the big thing is that Kennedy was able to pass lap traffic more easily while Aya just couldn't.
Charlie McCarron has moved up to 4th place in the 10 car. This 10 car looks pretty strong as well here right now, so I wouldn't count this car out either. She just moved past the 60 of Jennifer Wilson to get to that 4th position. Shelby's been drop kicked back quite a bit, actually, outside the top 10 now.
Yeah, it's just once you're stuck on that outside, it's very hard to make up ground from there. Because, I mean, you have to get down with all the traffic spread out as it is. It's kind of hard to do that.
See Naomi Davenport moving past Kathy Ableton-Perez right here. That's for the 26th position. And it may not seem like very much interesting like right now back there, but keep in mind that those are playoff drivers. They're battling for points. They're trying to get all the points that they can because you're going to need to rely on points. There's going to be, at the very least, 2 cars that get into that final round purely by how many points they've accrued during this round of the playoffs. So you want to do everything you can to get up there. Kennedy's still here, just maneuvered around the 31 of Lori Ramirez. And Ramirez is going to run this 31 car for just one more race this year. After this one, she's running it at Rockingham, and they're still going to keep Petra Ilatovsky in that car. Oh, it was the 25. Got hooked by the 12. Hangs on to it, though. Ilatovsky going to drive the car at Atlanta next week and at Homestead in the finale in the 31, going back to that point. But interesting note here, the 12 has actually been shuffled to the outside now because of that little scuffle with the 25 there.
say that was very costly for Kennedy there, and that could even allow Takamura to close back in again. And it definitely will. At this
Definitely
point.
will, but you know who else is closing in now is the 2 of Rachel Ramos. She's closed up to the 11. She's gotten right to the back bumper, the 11 car. Now the 12 has managed to slot back in line though. And again, I think I might be a little more worried about the 2 car than anything, because the 2 car has been very fast lately, because she closed up to the 11 very quickly. Still 30 cars on the lead lap though at the moment.
Couple battles back here inside the top 10.
Yeah, this is 6th place. This is between Chistina and McCarran.
How about Tammy Bird having made up, what, 14 spots?
Yeah, she's up to
This
9th
race.
spot. Bit of a home track race for her. I mean, I'm not sure it would be technically a home track, not even the closest track to where she's from, considering, you know, we
Yeah.
do run
The
Irwindale.
home track is Irwindale. This is a home track, kind of.
Yeah. Now McCarran's been shuffled out to the high side, and that 10 car looked very strong in the middle of the run, but not particularly so in the late run as the 14 of Eelstein I just saw come down pit road.
That might be for regular service.
It feels a bit early to be doing regular service.
Well, it is up on a tire stop, so we'll have to see how that plays out as far as strategy. They're going to sit there for a bit longer by the looks of it. Damage repair, perhaps, because Edelstein did get in a bit of an incident earlier, right?
I don't remember.
Still sat there. Interesting.
I think clearly there's been some sort of something going on in that 14. So, kind of a really bad day for Heath Clarkson. The 4 car came down pit road early after an incident, and now the 14's having trouble as well. Okay, 14's coming back out.
Yeah, we'll see how that impacts the traffic here on the racetrack, because earlier created 3x3 racing, and yeah, you see just how slow the cars are coming off of pit road here.
Yeah, it's
Gonna
just a
come-
very
I think
awkward...
It's a relative gap in traffic, which is good.
It's just such an awkward exit, really.
The entry isn't great, but the exit is just really weird.
Here comes the battle for second. Rachel Ramos dives to the inside on Aya. Still trying to take that spot away, but the 11's holding pretty strong on the outside for now. Can Ramos get that position? Not at the line, but it was extremely close between them. That's something we're seeing more and more, is that the outside kind of wears in a little bit.
Definitely does, and now we're seeing the 44 close up on the 11, and now that's clear for second.
Ramos now is clear for second. Had to work for it, but she got it.
Still, though, these two are nearly 3 seconds behind the 12 of Jackie Kennedy up front. A little bit less, about 2.5 seconds, but still quite a gap.
Yeah, but now I'm curious, does Ramos have the speed to catch up to that 12 car?
A couple of lap cars to get there first, of course.
Yeah. Vinny Schultz running 16th now. Again, that's another car. Started out back, has made her way up to the front. If you're wondering about those cars that started at the back of the field, the 62, 4, and 22. The 4 car, a lap down. The 22 still kind of stuck in this back of the field here. She's actually made her way up to 24th now. So again, things could be a lot worse for Davenport, especially after getting spun out early. She is not in the worst position whatsoever. You're seeing a lot of these cars are kind of gapping the 14 on the straightaways, but look at how fast the 14 is through the corner. New tires are helping Edelstein actually more than whatever her issue is hurting her. And I wonder if that's going to be seen as a sign by some of these teams about taking tires.
Yeah, because there should be, what, 1 stop, 2 stops in this race?
1 stop.
Yes, that's really critical because it's a question of when, of course. And if you mess up in terms of that timing, that could be very costly as the run goes. Although, certainly it is a bit easier to pass on this track than perhaps some drivers expected.
Yeah, I think a lot of us were expecting it to be a little bit harder to get around cars than it actually has been.
It's not a lot to do it, but it's not that hard.
Jennifer Wilson has gotten around Takamoto Aya for 3rd. Faye Zand is sitting 5th. There's Tammy Bird, actually, who's moved up to 6th place. So how about that for the 84? Maybe looking at potentially getting back-to-back wins. She would be the first to do it in the Continental Series if she can pull it off. And you're kind of seeing that these cars, they've lost a fair bit of time in terms of their tires. They're running about 2 seconds off their fast laps now. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw maybe some cars try to come down pit road around halfway under green. But I wouldn't be surprised if the tire strategy was all over the place. And Ramos is closing in. She gained about 0.4 of a second since I last looked. I don't know how much, if that's 0.4 per lap or not, but it was a 19.1 compared to the 12's 19.18. So she gained about 0.08 of a second there. See, what did she do this time? She actually lost that time again, so. Meanwhile, Chistina fighting with Bird. Again, that's another pair of mid-season replacement drivers fighting each other here.
Yeah, of course, you see the 84 caught behind the 31, the lap car there, so a bit more disadvantaged in this situation by the looks of it. 6 is through, 10 is about to be through, and then you see the 55 and Deborah Williams on the bottom as well.
Yeah, and Deborah
is also there to pick up some scraps.
Yeah, and Deborah Williams, you know, she needs to make up those. She needs to get points, being in the playoffs. That's something that's going to be very important for that 55. Getting all the positions you can, just maximizing, especially in this round, in this 3rd round, where it's very hard to. If you have a bad day, you're gonna take a big hit. You can't really. You can't really get away with it. You can't really get away with having a bad day like you could have in the last 2 rounds. But we still have yet to see a yellow flag in this race. Which honestly kind of, I'm very surprised at a short track that we've yet to see a yellow flag in 100 laps. Knowing how this field is.
Yeah, definitely. It is surprising for AWSCO for sure, if not for this track. But yeah, definitely a very calm but pretty action-packed race so far for sure.
Yeah, it's not like nothing's been happening. Yeah, it's definitely not like nothing's been happening, so.
incidents on track, like the 22 obviously spinning into the wall, and the 25 being spun on the front stretch as well. So it's not like we haven't had any incidents whatsoever.
I feel like we've come close to having yellows, but we just haven't seen them actually get triggered for whatever reason. Whether the drivers save it or whether the race officials just rule that we don't need one.
Yeah, notice the race officials at this track just in general tend to be, I guess, pretty stringent with what really is a caution or not. Like, if they can let it run green, they generally will. Until it gets to the end usually, but that's just any short track.
Seeing Fazanda trying to hold off Mila Tristina. Back here for the 5th position. Here these cars go around this track. It's been a very interesting race so far. Honestly, it's been quite fun to watch this one. See, there's 7th place at stake now between Deborah Williams and Charlie McCarron. Right now, the leading is, there's not really much of a lead battle at the moment. There's battling everywhere else right now. I still say another funny thing, despite the fact that the 23 got spun on that first lap, or on lap 2, I think it was, she's still on the lead lap. Barely,
Yeah,
but
22.
she's still ahead of the 12. And she's actually running faster laps than the 12.
We're talking about fastest cars on the racetrack, and he did mention, yeah, running faster laps than the 12, but as far as the leaders go, Jackie Kennedy, I think, is definitely the fastest we've had tonight.
Yeah, I would agree as
Able to
well.
put those cars allowed down without that much difficulty.
Meanwhile, here comes 3rd place.
11 going for 3rd.
I thought that might have been a battle, but I think the 60 is going to be clear. Yes, she will.
It was going to be a battle, but the 60 closed the door.
60 just got a good run off. There's the 14 of Edelstein, by the way. Had that issue. Not exactly 100% sure on what it was for the 14. As the 51. Oh, we got cars coming down pit road. Yeah, we got cars taking tires right now.
Tell you what, though. I mean, you say one stop as far as this goes, but...
Oh, the 31, Ramirez.
Big impact into the wall. Driver's side. That's not a caution, is it?
Nope.
If there is going to be a caution, it's probably going to be a pit stops with how messy it is on the backstretch. Cars coming out, cars coming in. They will collide.
They're 3 wide here. The 11 and 60 are in. You see, pretty much everybody. Well, the 12 actually hasn't come down pit road yet. These cars are making contact. They're getting really stacked up.
Yeah.
The 2. Oh, there goes the 44 of Lulucani.
In contact with the 7.
Caution is out for that, though.
Caution.
There's the yellow.
Cycle. I just said it a minute ago. If there's a caution, it'd be in pit cycles, and there it is.
Yeah, that's about the worst time for everyone for that yellow. Only 7 cars left on the lead lap right now.
Yeah. Not ideal, is it? I'd imagine some of them will take the wave around, though.
Oh, probably. I believe they will.
It's about to be wave around city. Oh, bit of contact with cars figuring out positions here.
Sorry, excuse me. There's actually 6 cars left on the lead lap right now. The 38 of Isabella Fitzmaurice, I believe, is the free pass car. Okay, I don't know what the 54 is doing.
Clearly objecting to whatever the 12 is doing.
These cars cannot figure out their position for whatever reason, so...
Must be all the fumes from the oil production west of here that's getting to them at this point. Maybe the race directors, too.
Yeah, who knows, honestly. Oh, 42 and 60.
Oh, yeah, this is getting a bit goofy.
Bit of a slide there. Well, I'm gonna need to keep the yellow out because they can. I'm not gonna let them restart like this. Everyone's still trying to figure out what position they're in at the moment. The 51 has a lot of damage. Yeah, that looks like she ran into somebody. The leader right now is scored as the 6 of Chistina.
That sounds right.
Wave around cars. The 62. 96. The 5. The 42. The 65 and the 88. So the 6, 55, 84, 7, 12. Those are all the cars that are scored lead lap. Well, actually, the 54 was laid lap, so she was locked on.
Car lights are still on, correct?
The what?
See, so we should be getting a restart this time?
Yes, we will be getting the restart.
Okay.
Chishtina's out front for this restart. 7 cars are currently scored on the lead lap. Green flag is out. We are back to racing. And already a move being made by Deborah Williams on Mila Chistina for the race lead. Oh, car around the 10. McCarran spinning down the back straightaway. Yellow is out.
Caution is out again.
And
Deborah Williams, the leader.
That's one thing you're going to see here. Cautions breed cautions.
Especially at a short track like this. I've seen enough late model races at Bakersfield to know that they do this a lot.
Looks like everybody's coming down pit road.
I wouldn't be shocked if a few lap cars do take the wave around, though.
We never got a chance to look at the last caution, so we're going to look at this one while we look at the last. We're gonna look at the last one and then this one at the same as well. Deborah Williams will win the race out. A fair few lap cars are staying out here again as well, so.
Definitely smarter than to take the wave around.
The 0 of Yoko is the free pass car. I should clarify that. I'm just going to wait for everybody to shuffle properly here. So yes, the 50, or who scored the lead? Oh, the 38 has actually scored the leader. Okay, so there we go. The 93 and 60 will take the wave around. So the 93 is actually going to be back in the lead lap now. 38. $55. The 54, the 84, the 12,
The 10, 59.
The 7.
Are back out.
Okay, basically the whole field got waved around. All right, let's go back and look as to what happened to bring out our first yellow. We're gonna look at that before the restart. I forgot who all was involved in that. Was it the 44? I can't even remember.
The 44 was the car that went spinning along with the 60, yes. Oh no, it was a 7. My mistake. I think. So I believe it was the...
No, it was
no,
the 44. The 81 was merging, and then the 7
was
crashes
caught
into the
damage,
44. And then this last one was brought out by the 10.
Yeah, it was McCarran here who goes spinning at the...
She got
back of
spun
the field.
at the exit of turn 2. I think this is just a case of, yeah, Starchev just was getting a little too aggressive, just kind of got into her. Good job by everybody to not hit her.
Yeah, great avoidance there, undoubtedly.
So Isabella Fitzmaurice, who took the free pass last time around, is actually the leader now because she stayed out. We're going to go back green. Green flag is out.
Yeah, this time with a few more lead lap cars, as we're gonna see.
Okay, we have 16 cars now on the lead lap. Oh, as the 82 goes around down the back straightaway.
Into the wall. I think that'll be a caution again.
Let's see. Yes, it is.
It is.
The 55 apparently came down pit road. I think the 55 had some kind of penalty?
That restart did look a bit funny, I believe it.
The pass car is now the 22 of Davenport. All right, well, while we sort a lot of this out, we're going to take you down to our FanDuel fan studio here for the mid-race report. Rosh and Ellie will have their analysis on what this race was and what it's turned into here very shortly. We will see. We'll see what they have to say. All right, you two, take it away.
Yeah, right now, welcome back to Kevin Harvick's current raceway. We are at lap 141 of 250 right now. Under caution at the moment here, as you see here, Isabella Fitzmarie, 74. Michaela Kirkland in second, Tammy Bird in third. In fourth, that's the 12 of Jackie Kennedy. The fifth, that's Faye Zanda. A few cars are going to be waved around here. I see the 24, 42, 31. Then you have Yoko, the 4, another wave around car, 60, a couple lap down cars, 88, 96, and the 5 here, and then the 6. This is 10th place right here, all the way back in the mid-pack. Lots of cars kind of still... Lots of cars still kind of a lap down, but you can see the top 5 are all kind of together, but then you get to the rest of the top 10, they're all spread out. We're going to get some wave arounds here again after a quick caution there. We're going to get the wave arounds here. It was a very clean first half of the race. I think around lap 120, just lap 123 or so on the onset of the pit cycle. We had a caution for cause there, the 81 and 40, 81, 44, and 7, I believe, were the cars involved in that. In that sense, then we've kind of been trying to...
Kind of just forgot how to navigate themselves through cautions.
Yeah, it's I think the issue here is that they're all kind of stacked up again, and that's kind of caused issues.
Yeah.
Which is kind of normal. Like, that's something we've seen at these tracks already. As we're waiting for some of these cars to wave around here, we're getting a little bit of issue here with some of these cars. I think the 96, 5, and 10 are due to wave around, but they haven't been able to do so yet. No, the 96 is on the lead lap. She's trying to get back in line, actually. If she doesn't do that, I think she might be penalized for that. We'll see. Yeah, it's the 10 that's trying to get around. There's 2 cars on the lead lap right now that are on the wrong side.
What are they doing?
Hang on, they're figuring this out.
Who spun to bring out the last yellow?
What?
Who spun?
What do you mean?
Who spun on the last yellow?
On the last yellow, that was, I think, the 84? No, 82. It was the other. Right. It was Quentin in the 82 that spun out and brought out the last caution here. We'll see what happened. Kind of in the middle of that. Here. There it is. Yep, just spun out. Spun out by the 93 of Oberman, actually. And that's what caused the most recent caution here. Some kerfufflery is going on back here in the edge of the top 10. Not sure. I guess we are going to restart like this.
Yeah, we'll have a double file restart. Why not?
Sure, I guess. Well, here we go. Izzy Fitzmaurice takes the green flag. That's a track position has been fairly important. I mean, it's worked for the 38, to say the least. That's because we haven't really had much green flag racing since then. All right, well. Yep, and everybody's going to keep going. Whoa! 25 and 22 there. Ooh, 25 turns the 4! What was that all about? Are we going to get a caution? No, we're not going to get a caution for that. Of all the things that could be a caution, that wasn't. Another car coming down. That's a 38. That's Fitzmaurice. That's your leader coming down pit road as well. And now we have a caution as the 25. Hello? Kathy Ableton Perez jumps up in front of the field and
What is she doing?
Field
right now?
The field continues to have a time of things here, trying to figure things out. Then we get more pit stops here. Tammy Bird, your new leader, coming in.
She
As,
might be losing it.
A few other cars coming in, but that was a messy restart there. Lots of cars coming. Lots of cars involved in. There's the 25 and the 22 clattered into each other. That's one of them, and I think the 25 might have been the one that caused the caution. Lots of cars coming in again. 10 of Charlie McHerron will get the free pass this time around. On one hand, on the other hand, this is great news for the drivers that were stuck a lap or two down, because everybody's getting waved around again and getting kind of put back on the lead lap. See what happened here. That wasn't the caution. The 22 wasn't the caution. Oh, there's the caution. The 66 was spun around in front of the field. And that was the main issue there. You can tell why that created it. You can tell why that needed to be a caution there. That was the 66. Stopped in the middle of turns 3 and 4. In front of the chasing pack. So that would be it there. 46 getting more wave arounds here. 46 and 11. Takamoto Aya as well. Rose Lockport. Katrin Edelstein once again getting a wave around. Rachel Ramos in the 2. Zoe Quinton who caused the previous caution. More cars getting wave around here.
I think we need to ask the 25 what she was doing.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. Ableton Perez merged. Oh, no, you go. Yeah, Ableton Perez kind of merged up in front of the pack there at the at the caution. I'm not sure what happened there because that could have been a lot messier. The end result of that is we have our leader back in. We have our pole sitter, I should say, back in the lead. Just like that, it's the 7 and the 12 leading like nothing ever happened.
I mean, I guess you could say nothing ever happens.
I mean, with the top 2, definitely. So, somehow, some way, we have somehow reset back to these 2 at the front of the pack, despite everything. Not to mention the 42 is back in the top 10, somehow. Reason? As we're coming back in for a restart here on lap to start lap 153. 12 is dropping down to the inside. Is there a problem on Jackie Kennedy's car? That's going to cause issues on the restart here. He's going to be limping on the inside line as we're going to take the green flag once again. And we're racing back in the IMM with Workers 250.
Hopefully
we'll see how long this one lasts as there's a stricken car on the inside line.
Hopefully they remember how to race. I don't have much confidence.
They're making it kind of work. Oh, careful. There's another car coming in, 55. Oh, there they go. There they go. That's a big one. Cars everywhere there. And that has to be another caution. Fazenda will take the yellow flag once again on lap 155 of 250. There's a lot of cars that are blowing a lot of smoke. They're big damage. I see the 2 of Rachel Ramos, I think. More cars coming in. 7 and 5 choosing to come in this time. 2 McMillan cars coming in, but notably not the 42. We'll check in what happened to the 12 there. This race has been a comedy of errors for the last few laps here. It didn't help that the 12 was limping on the inside line and held everybody up there as we get a real royal rumble here to get out of pit lane. 5 and the 7 will be the first 2 out in the reverse order that they came in.
Yeah, I hope he's okay.
They're still going at it in pit lane, by the way. More things are occurring over there. Where is the 40... Oh, the 40 was going into pit lane, okay. 55 of Deborah Williams, who I think was penalized on that last restart, will get the free pass. So, fortunate break for her. Now, Izzy Oberman leads the way. with 3 playoff drivers in the top 5 now. And also Latanya Gray. And Mila Cristina. We get another round of wave arounds here.
Well, I want to personally congratulate the playoff drivers for finally making it back into the top 10.
I really don't know what to say. What's going on right now? It's been a bit of a mess here. That's all the cars that are needed. Everyone's been waved around. Hopefully this time we'll get a fairly clean restart. The last few have been marred by issues. I'll have to see here, but it's hopefully this time we'll get a clean restart on lap 159 of 250. There's a lot of racing left to go, but clearly with the way they're racing right now, it's gonna be a while. This track is fairly fast, so if you do go green, it won't take as nearly as long as Izzy Oberman now will take the green flag. Couple of cars out. I see 10 out. Freya von Lundqvist making a move on the inside of Vinny Schultz. Schultz getting shuffled out on the outside. Mostly single file. A couple of cars at the back coming in. Bit of a kerfuffle going back here, but we've managed a lap of green flag racing. That's the most important part of all this so far.
It's a miracle.
Don't say anything just yet. There's a lot of cars that are going to be coming in and out of pit lane here because of all the penalties and whatnot. So there's going to be quite a bit. Oh, that's speaking of. Yeah, there it is. It's a major stack up again, trying to avoid the cars that are coming out of pit lane. And that's, I think, the main issue is the blending for cars coming out of pit lane. It's right on the racetrack, and that's causing issues for these drivers, I think. Drivers are checking up, and that's causing the big traffic jams that we're seeing on the backstretch, and it's a 3 and 4. I think that's been the main problem at this track. But when they race, they're racing cleanly, by and large, anyways. And as things start to calm down here,
what?
Ooh, never mind. Latanya Gray's made a really aggressive move. That's just Latanya Gray. That's just Latanya for you. Ooh, there's a car smoking on the inside. I think there's a car blowing up somewhere. It's the 31. Doing? That's the 30. Lori Ramirez, I believe that. That'll be the end of her day in all likelihood here. See, and that's a caution again. Assume because of that. For the stricken 31 car. See what happened this time with the 31. Ramirez running by herself here. She's running by herself here, so this has nothing to do with it. Whoa, that's a big whack going on back there. I see the problemo. Oh, that's why. Ran right into that. That would be it. Lots of problems, I think. Oh, I see the 71, 7, and 22. I think all, actually the 81, 77, and 22. Nope, it was actually the 59 and 24 that started it. That was the beginning of that, and everyone kind of just piled in there. And the 31 really piles in there. Alright, lap 165, back under caution after about 10 laps or so of green flag. How do we make heads or tails of what's going on right now?
I think they've lost it, and there might be illegal substances in their cars. I think that could be a huge issue here.
I'm not sure what to think of the racing we've had here. We've had whatever is going on.
I'll have to go down and get a try of whatever they're on. Honestly.
This is what is going on? Yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this right now, but coming up for yet another
You know the saying Jesus behind the wheel? I don't think Jesus is behind the wheel in the 65
Yeah,
or the 25
I'm not
car. I think
sure
Satan's
anymore.
behind the wheel.
I'm not sure anymore. I'm not sure what's going on anymore. I think we've gone. We've entered the fumble dimension, as the good folks over at Secret Base would say. And with that, I think it's a good time to go to our fan pick segment. I'm not sure what that's supposed to mean in this race, but Ellie, is there anyone who you think is going to survive this race?
Can I pick myself? I think I'll survive. Okay, no, on a serious note, the 96 has avoided most of the damage, I feel. Is this crazy to say?
I mean, she's on the lead lap, he's in the top 10, and you never know what can happen with these cars in the top 10. There's been a lot of positional changes already up here, so I wouldn't count her out just yet. I will personally go for... a lot of shuffling there. I will personally go for the number 65 of Latanya Gray, because this just feels like a race that Latanya Gray pulls out a victory out of. This race has flipped on its head and become, and the 22 is spun out, and guess what? We have another caution, folks. Do we? No, we did. Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's the space car. I should say, this feels like a race that Latanya Gray wins. This just feels like one of those races. Good thing is, I don't think we're going to have any more pit stops outside of damaged cars, but on the other hand, this seemingly has not guaranteed that we won't get any more cautions as a result of that, so who knows. But my pick is Latanya Gray just because when things hit the fan like this, I feel like that's when drivers like Latanya Gray tend to shine. And that's a driver that I think will do optimally well in these conditions, I think. As we see what happens to the 22 here. One last look at the replay before we go. Now, just got cleaned out by the 95.
I mean...
And that's kind of the story of the day, I think, for everyone here. They've just been running right into it. The 22 has gotten DQ'd for some reason. Not sure why. Just has. Alright, with that, we'll take you back to the booth here, where hopefully nothing ridiculous will happen.
Alright, Madison, I don't know what to say about what's going on. Do you have a FanDuel fan pick at the very least?
I think I'm going to pick the Views from the Oil Derricks near Taft, thank you very much. That or the pace car. Actually, no, on a serious note, I'm going to pick the 6. The 6 is one of the few cars that's actually run decently well throughout the race that is at the front right now. So, yeah, I'm going to try and pretend that there's some sense of reason left in this race. I'm going to hope that the next 75 laps have fewer than 1 million cautions, and, yeah, what do you think?
Well, you know what? I'm gonna go with the 42 of Freya von Lundqvist. She's just come out of nowhere into 3rd place right now, so I think it would be very fitting for something to happen for her to win this race. But at the very least, she's gonna finish very well, which is something that I don't think we were expecting in the middle of the race.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, here
definitely.
comes the
We'll
6.
See if this restart is more like Sisyphus pushing his boulder, or if we actually get a clean restart.
Ooh, Kirkland.
Maybe not.
Not clean, but they didn't wreck, I think.
Clean, no.
Yeah, well, it wasn't a clean restart, but
Immediately.
there wasn't any, nobody crashed, so it's close enough to clean.
Yeah, clean enough for government work, pretty much.
And it's 3 Toyotas out front now, with Oberman, Chestina, and von Lundqvist. 2 of those 3 Toyotas are playoff drivers, with Izzy Oberman leading the race, and Freya von Lundqvist in 3rd. Lynn Oswell in the 96 car, right now battling Vinny Schultz for the 6th position.
I think I think our FanDuel fan studio is actually something of a curse because, while they were doing the race, they had so many cautions, and now that we're over in the BetMGM booth, things are going just great. No, I'm not being serious. Finally, we have clean racing, though. That's nice.
Why are you shouting out a competitor? We're all sponsored by FanDuel.
Well, don't we have Polymarket for the pre-race and post-race?
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like, this is just a sports betting series. Like, where most series don't allow it, we
But that's
actually
every
encourage it.
series.
No. They just pretend that they don't like it. We don't pretend that we don't like it. We say, yes, do it.
By the way, I just want to point out, Cassidy Jones ran a lap down pretty much through that entire first run. She's running 7th at the moment. She's actually made up a lot of ground. She's actually going to come out of this pretty okay. The 22 of Davenport got DQ'd for some reason. Same with the 45 of Liz Roberts. I'm not entirely sure why, but they did. So those cars are out of the race. See, Vinnie Schultz got drop-kicked back to 10th spot, but she is still at least up here. Meanwhile, Izzy Oberman, if she wins this race, that's a free spot at Homestead for her. She won't have to worry about Atlanta or Rockingham. She would have a free spot in the next round if she's able to hang on here, but we will see if she can hang on to that, because the 6 of Tristina has not looked particularly slow.
You know what surprises me? The fact that we have only 8 cars rolled out of this race and that we still have 30 cars running on track at all.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's like with the million cautions we had there, I would have thought, oh, we have about, 20 cars left. No, it's 30 somehow.
We have 20 cars on the lead lap. Because a lot of those
Really?
cautions
Wow.
actually brought a fair few cars back on the lead lap because after that pit cycle, there was a bunch of different strategies. A lot of cars took wave rounds. A lot of cars were just in between top 10 cars. And that's what's given us a lot of cars that got back on the lead lap, especially after we only had 6 cars on the lead lap after that pit cycle. You've got 20 now.
To say, but I feel compelled to say nonetheless, free passes in the vast majority of those cautions as well certainly brought quite a number back on the lead lap also.
Cassidy Jones right now trying to pressure Lynn Oswell for the 6th position. And the 6 car has been kind of close to the 93 for a bit, but hasn't been able to pull the move off quite yet. Rose Lockport in the 77 making moves up here. She's in 8th. She just got around, well, actually the 25 is a lap down, but the 25, I believe, is the first car a lap down. So if there is another yellow, then that 25 would be in the best position for it. 6 car is all over the back bumper of the 93. And they're catching a lap car here. That's the 14 of Edelstein. There's these two goofballs back here that are running very slow, but they're at least running.
Yeah, they're just about going the speed limit
59.
on 5 as opposed to the actual racetrack speed limit.
"14 of Edelstein." Again, this car is also pretty slow. I think we got word that she's actually down a cylinder, so she's basically just trying to survive. Which, you know what?
You can see on the straights just how considerable the power deficit is on the 14.
The 4 of Jones has gotten around the 60 of Wilson. 6th place now for Cassidy Jones. 5th place for a playoff car in Lynn Oswell. 3rd place for Freya von Lundquist. 1st place for Izzy Oberon. The playoff drivers all have come out at this point in time. They didn't show up earlier, but they are showing up now. And now one of them...
Ties into what Go ahead.
Now one of them leading the race. And again, Izzy Overman's still the only playoff driver who's actually won in the playoffs.
That kind of ties into what I said earlier about the playoff drivers and just sort of mind your P's and Q's throughout the race. And if it gets chaotic later, try and get your luck in that. And it seems they have, although certainly a number of the playoff drivers have also been involved in incidents. But, I mean, at this point, who hasn't?
Well, I feel like the whole field was an incident at one point of this race, so...
I think so, yeah. We had the big one at Kern at least a couple times.
And we actually had a true big one instead of, you know, most of those were very much just kind of single car spins or just like a car getting spun across the field but didn't really take anybody out. Aside from that one where there was a track blocker, basically.
Yeah, we did actually have a big one at one point. Quite a bit of good battling going on back here, though. With some side-by-side and some about to be side-by-side.
Yeah. Now, the 25 not on the same lap as the rest of these cars, but she's still up here trying to get as far up as she can. Again, she'd get the free pass. Now, Ableton Perez not in the playoffs anymore. Got eliminated after last week in Martinsville. Also, one thing interesting to point out here, the 6 and the 93. The 6 is still on the 93's back bumper right now. And I feel like Tristina is definitely faster.
I agree. It's just a question about the opportunity to get around, which could only really happen if the 93 fails to get around lap cars or if the 93 slips up. We've seen throughout the race with other battles for the lead.
Ani Starchev and Isabella Fitzmaurice are those two lap cars that they're closing in on, and I feel like the lap cars will be the biggest factor in that battle. 7th place. Here comes Wilson on Rose Lockport. And now, again, we're going to start to see the tires are wearing out. You're going to start to see cars be able to start fighting each other again.
Yeah, we have 50 to go, so it'll definitely wear quite a bit. Fairly reminiscent, although not quite to the same extent as it was once we started getting those cautions.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be some drivers that are praying we get more cautions, but I feel like one more caution will turn into 5 very quickly.
Yeah, maybe there's like 3 drivers who want more cautions, or a bit more than 3, but I think the fans definitely don't want any more cautions, whether they're here at Bakersfield or watching from elsewhere.
Brosseau now battling with Lockport here for the 8th position. Bridget Brosseau ran a lap down as well for a good chunk of this race. Yet, now look at where she's gotten up to. Back up into the 9th position. She's actually managed to get up back into the top 10. Vinny Schultz is up into the top 10 after being a lap down, or not a lap down, but kind of just, she started well at the back. Had to work her way up, but she managed to do it. There's Lynn Oswald battling LaTanya Gray. That's the 4th position at stake between those two. And Cassidy Jones sitting behind them in 6th. Jennifer Wilson in 7th. Bridget Brosseau in 8th. Rose Lockport 9th. Vinny Schultz 10th. It's Deborah Williams is the next playoff driver in 12th right now. As she's trying to fend off a challenge from Faye Zanda. Last week's winner at Martinsville, Tammy Bird in 14th. And then to find the rest of our playoff drivers. Well, none of them are, well, actually, Ani Starchev in the 66 is currently scored in 29th. Katrin Edelstein has scored 30th. And then Davenport is out of the race. Same for Rachel Ramos. And these cars are catching that 66, and I would be curious as to maybe if the 6 stays with the 93 here, that could be a really good opportunity for Tristina to try to get around Oberman.
But the 6 definitely, yeah, the 6 has not kept up with the 93 quite as much, although that could definitely change. Yeah, the 42 Freya von Lundquist, pretty short ways behind this group, definitely lost a bit of time there, but could easily close up if it's if passing Sarchev becomes a lot more difficult than the leaders are hoping. Not to mention Needlestein and a couple others up ahead that will also pose a challenge. Including a brief race leader in the 38.
Yeah. As Oberman's going to try to navigate around Starchev.
Looked outside, wasn't there.
Now here comes the 6. Here comes Justina for the lead. The 93 wasn't sure which line she wanted, and the 6 car decided for her. And Mila Justina is now out front here at Kern. And the 42's closing in on this too.
Oberman now gets around the 14, and we'll see if Von Lundquist can also do so back there. Not immediately.
Von Lundquist will be able to get by.
Oh yeah, for sure. Not in 1 and 2, but definitely in 3 and 4.
6 car looked to the inside of the 66, but can't get by on the straightaway. Now, if these cars get held up by that 66, that could drag the 42 in, and that could make this basically a 3-way fight. The 42 is already scored within a second. The 6 car finally gets to the inside of the 66, and Chistina's got the lead. And Mila Chistina may be looking at her second win in just 5 races.
Yeah, I'll see if Oberman has as easy of a time passing Starchev as the 6 did, and it looks like she will. Maybe.
Yeah, she'll be able to get by.
That definitely did enable Von Lundquist to close in a good bit.
Yes, that let the 42 get close. A lot closer than she was. Now, it still remains to be seen if these 2 cars are equal. And I felt like the 6 was better. The 99 of Karina Willis-Callaway is on pit road. That seems unscheduled, so...
Gets a good exit. It will be into traffic, which could get complicated.
That could be a bit sketchy. But it looks like she'll enter fine.
Yeah, she managed.
Now, they have another lap car in front as the 38. That could be Oberman's chance to get back, but Oberman is not really hanging with the 6 as much. You see, she lost a fair bit of time that lap. And Lundquist is desperately trying to get past the 66. She wants to stay with the leaders, but Von Lundquist already in great position to have a good point stay.
Yeah, we're about to reach 29 to go here, and it does look like that 6 car is definitely a good bit faster right now. Gained marginally that time, but generally still the fastest car on the racetrack, as you surmised.
Yeah, I think that 6 car is just too fast for the 93 right now. Now again, they have another lap car in the way that they'll catch up to, and that could bring the 93 back in.
Yeah, that 38 car is definitely a faster lap car than the 14 was previously, or even the lap cars before that in the form of Starchev. So that could get a bit more interesting for Mila Justina up front in the 6, and yeah, we'll have to see how that really plays in.
I think
93 did close in a bit, so I think they're well matched.
I think the 38 is a little faster than the 66, and they already had their own trouble getting around the 66.
Oh, that's what I was saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, the 38 is a faster car, so it'll be harder, I think, for the 6.
Jennifer Wilson managed to get past the 96 of Lynn Oswell. Now you're seeing the 46 of Bridget Brousseau try and go for 7th on Cassidy Jones. And Jones and Brousseau, I guess, have a little bit of a history. If you look at Oregon, those two finished side by side for the race win at that one. Yeah, now Justina's caught up to Fitzmaurice. And Oberman is now back about a second back of Justina, but Justina's stuck behind the 38 right now. Can she
Yeah,
get
they're gonna
by?
it will
She'll get
continue to
underneath.
fluctuate. Has a look. 38 holds decently well on the outside, but it's still going to be side by side with the 6 here. Gonna get to the
Honestly,
inside, and I think it'll be clear in 2, perhaps.
I think the 6 will get clear here fairly soon. Yeah, she'll get clear here
Yeah, in
entering
1.
turn 1. And now, yeah, I find it hard to see the 6 losing this race. I mean, I could see, I mean, anything could happen, really, but I find it hard to see that 6 car managing to drop out of the lead now. So you see there's Cassidy Jones making a move on Lynn Oswell. Bridget Brousseau actually took the 6th position. There's Deborah Williams sitting 14th, and this is kind of just a chaotic group back here.
Yeah, there's Tammy Berg working on Vinny Schultz, I believe, for 12th position.
Some position, I can't tell what position it is.
Something like
It's
that.
for 11th. That's what she's working on her for.
11th, okay.
By the way, Jackie Kennedy's still 2 laps down. After leading so much of the early race, she kind of has been, she really got shuffled bad. And that's going to cost her a pretty good finish. 1.2 seconds, 1.45 seconds, excuse me, between Chistina and Oberman now. Okay, Karina Willis-Callaway clearly took tires, and she is clearly very fast right now, because this car is kind of flying through everybody at the moment.
Another 10th gain for the 6th there. I think you're absolutely right about the whole fastest car thing as far as the 6 goes. The 93 is still not passing the 38. In fact, might even get passed by the 99, which would obviously increase that lead further.
Now, one thing I'd worry about being the 99, make sure I don't bring out a caution here while trying to get past these slower cars. You don't want to bring out a yellow and cause all sorts of chaos.
Yeah, we see that
Ooh,
happen with
wow.
that, right? Oh, 3 wide.
That was a really aggressive move for a
That was
driver who
dastardly,
is a
but it
lap car.
worked.
And none of those were for position, by the way. She's just doing that for love of the game.
Yeah, just having fun, and that'll help Oberman pass Edelstein here.
Well, actually, the 99 does have positions she can make up here, though. Because the 24 is on the same lap, will be on the same lap as her. Same for the 81 and the 59. So theoretically, she could be racing some cars for position. She
That's
gets past
definitely
the
a way
6
to
of
treat the
Chistina.
leader.
I think Chistina just let her through.
Yeah, honestly, not a bad decision. Just bring it home when it's 12 to go like this. Gonna be 11 at the line.
Yeah, it's going to be a very smooth finish here for Mila Chistina, assuming she doesn't lose it here at the end. But I feel like Mila Chistina, she's already in that Cup car for Southwest for the rest of the season. I feel like Chistina has to be one of the prospects you have to look at. Maybe one of those drivers who might be a rookie next year in the Cup Series as a very strong candidate to maybe take a Rookie of the Year award, or maybe even help Southwest get back to glory.
Definitely, and this race win here at Kern that's presumably about to become a reality is definitely going to be part of that too, because it wasn't a fluke. I mean, the 6 didn't necessarily lead the most laps, or didn't necessarily lead the majority of the race early on, but was running well at that time and survived the chaos to get to this point, so it's definitely well earned. It's going maybe, what, 2.5 seconds, but more now at the line.
She'd been one of the more quiet drivers of those drivers who came in as a mid-season replacement until she won at Oswego a few weeks ago. And she is being loud about how fast she is yet again, as she took the win away and a potential championship round clinching spot for Izzy Oberman, her teammate. Took it away. And she has just driven away from that 93 car. Now, interestingly here, there's still some good battles going on here. Bridget Brasseau's moved up to 5th position now in the 46. See LaTonya Gray 6th. Cassidy Jones is 7th. Michaela Kirkland running in 9th. There's Vinnie Schultz still in 11th. She's got Deborah Williams behind her in 12th, trying to hold the 55 off there. And again, those top 5 playoff cars being the 93, 42, 4, 96, and 62. They're trying to get as many points as you can, stay in those top 5 playoff cars in this race, because that's what's going to get you very high up. And I think Schultz would actually end up being tied with the 55 in terms of points, because... Oh, wait, no. Schultz, I think, is still one behind the 55, actually. 2 laps to go. Ila Chestina trying to hang on and win here in Kern. She's got a 3-second gap to her teammate, Izzy Oberman. White flag is out. 1 lap remains. And a bit of a topsy-turvy middle of this race that shuffled the whole field around, but in the end, it was a fast driver and a fast car and a long run at the end of the race that's going to prove herself again. Mila Chestina wins at Kern County for her 2nd win of the year and her 2nd in just 5 weeks. It'll be Oberman 2nd, Von Lundquist 3rd, Wilson 4th, and Bridget Brasseau 5th. You know, this race did not take very long, but it was still a very fun race nonetheless. It had plenty of action. Plenty of action, plenty of good racing, and most of all, it provided great drama for our playoffs. What did you think of this one, and what do you expect for the next couple weeks here as we have Atlanta and Rockingham coming up in for those playoff drivers?
Well, other than the what would be a local wildlife here? I wouldn't say so much an elephant, but definitely a very large creature in the room in the form of those half dozen or so cautions in the first part of the second half of the race. It was honestly really good. Saw a lot of good battles, saw some lap cars really come into play, some good tire wear and strategy. Overall, I'm really happy with this, and I hope we see Kern on the AWSCO Continental schedule for a very long time to come. Definitely earned his place here, I think, aside from just some of the chaos that happened.
Yeah, I think it definitely earned its place on the schedule. It was very fun. Just drivers being a bit off in terms of where they were going, really kind of ruined a little bit of the middle of the race. But overall, it was still a very good race. Didn't take too long, and a lot of these drivers managed to make a very fun show out of this one. Well, we're gonna take you down to the FanDuel Fan Studio for our post-race show. After this race is finished, we will have Rasha and Ellie covering how the race went and giving us a little bit of a preview into the next couple weeks. Take it away, you two.
Well, I have a headache, but thank you, Echo, and welcome back to the FanDuel Fan Studio here for the post-race show here at Kevin Harvick's current race. At Kevin Harvick's current raceway at the end of the MMI Oil Workers 250. It was Mila Tristina taking her second win in just 5 races here, 2 wins in this postseason for a car that wasn't in, for a driver that wasn't in the wasn't in the postseason, but definitely has the speed. I think if she had run the full season to be part of that. 6 car taking the win. 6 car taking the win here ahead of her. Ahead of her teammate, the 93 of Izzy Oberman and the 43 of Freya von Lundquist for a sweep of the podium positions by Toyota here. And those 2 drivers, second and third, are the top. End up being the top playoff drivers. Come the end of this race on the way they finished, I should say. Cassidy Jones as well as the other playoff driver that finished in the top 10. A good finish for the 4 after she ran basically, I think, a lap down for the entire first half of the race. That cycle of yellow flag of cautions in the middle of the race kind of helped her a bit, but putting her back on the lead lap eventually, I should say, and that I think really helped the 4 recover to a good finish here today as well. But yeah, that middle portion of the race was definitely messy. That was definitely stop and start, lots of cautions kind of marring that middle section, but I think once you got to the that late run of the race, again, when they started running green, it was really good racing again.
Yeah, the racing after the middle was it finally picked back up, and I guess they remembered how to drive. The whole wrecking in the middle of the race definitely was like race defining, I would say. I mean, if you look at where everybody ended up finishing, not many playoff drivers actually finished that well. Which I think a lot of them will honestly kind of look at it as more so of well, we're not all screwed now because everybody pretty much didn't do that well this race because of all of the crashing.
Yeah.
And another side note is we got word that Davenport actually had the fastest lap, so she's going to have somewhat of a not as bad day as you would think she would have because of where she placed, but she had fastest lap, so that should help her somewhat. Overall, that was a really fun race. It was really great, even with the messiness in the halfway point. Once it was over, it was really fun to watch again.
Yeah. And it should be, and it should be Von Lundquist and Oberman. Oberman and Von Lundquist in that order, I should say, at the top of the standings. Afterwards, looking at the rest of the results, top 10 for Cassidy Jones, and actually Lynn Oswald. She actually finished in the top 10 as well. Deborah Williams finished 12th. Vinny Schultz finished 11th. So, a lot of... for the playoff drivers, it appears that you either finished in the top 10, or, in the top 15, or you didn't finish at all. It seems, anyways. That seems to be the theme of the day here after the race here at Kern County. Kind of a boom or bust day for a lot of these playoff drivers, and that's... We'll see how that shapes the rest the dynamic of the playoffs once we get to our next track, because Atlanta's a big pack racing track. There's gonna be a lot of lot of parity there. It's gonna be very in terms of racing, it's gonna be very close for everyone. So everyone's, I think, gonna have a decent chance. We'll use an unrestricted package here at Atlanta, so it will race closer to that of a. It will be closer to that of a regular, kind of in between, I guess, a plate track and a traditional 1.5 mile speedway. Maybe think of a the way that Oregon ran at the start of the race, where they were all packed up together, close. That might be the most appropriate comparison for that, for the racing that we'll see in the next week.
Yeah, that should definitely be interesting, and a lot of the drivers who didn't place well here could definitely do better there, especially because some of the drivers who didn't do well here, some of them, they do good at every track, some others, they don't really do good at short tracks, so that should be something to look forward to. You know, if you didn't place that well here, well, you got another track, you can pick yourself back up, and you can gain some points there. I don't expect many drivers going into that with... I guess I don't expect them to be going into that with a lot of doom and gloom. I expect them to be going into that with we can make some ground back up here.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of ground to be made up here. There's definitely a lot of ground to be made up here. It looks like 6 drivers are going to be within about 10 points of everyone. 6 drivers about basically about within 10 points of everyone. Then you have that crop of drivers who didn't finish today's race all about 20 points back. So it's kind of split the contenders a little bit, but again, Atlanta's coming up. There's a lot to come. There's a lot that can still be decided in this next race.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And with that, let's look at coming up here tomorrow. We'll have our the start of the penultimate round for the Cup Series, the AWSCO Windows Cup Series, heading over to the coast of California. We're gonna be in the Monterey area, and for WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, for the final road course event of the season. It's the WeatherTech 400 kilometers, 112 laps at the famed California road course. You've seen lots of racing there. Lots of racing there, of course, in the form of sports car and open wheel racing, but we haven't. In open wheel racing, but we don't usually see stock cars running that track, so I think that'll be a bit of a sight to behold. We don't usually definitely something more unique to look at when it comes to the road course. When it comes to the road course offerings for stock car racing, I think. But that's definitely going to be that'll definitely be exciting, I think, to watch as well. But lots to take away from this event here at after the race here at Kern County. And without any final thoughts, Ellie, before we send it over back to the booth.
I think Laguna Seca will be fun. I mean, again, like you said, it's an open wheeler mostly track. We've mostly seen open wheelers race there, and seeing stock cars kind of try and battle that one out, I think that's going to be really fun. Especially with the Cup Series, they usually handle road courses pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the road courses typically have run pretty well. I think the Cup drivers have run pretty well in the road courses. So I think this race is going to be more of the same. I think. Hopefully, we're going to see more of this. Hopefully, we're going to see more exciting road course action in the AWSCO Windows Cup Series coming up tomorrow afternoon. All right, thank you for being with us here today in the booth. In the studio, joining us here in the studio and in the booth, of course, with Echo and Madison. We'll take you over there now. I've been Rush and with Ellie here. Thank you for being here with us, and we'll see you guys in another day.
Yeah, and a really fun race here from Kern County. We all of us enjoyed that here up in the booth and alongside in the studio. Tomorrow we're going to Laguna Seca at the dry lake bed in the central coast of California. It's the WeatherTech 400. It'll be 112 laps to decide that race in Laguna Seca at the very famous track in the hills of the central coast. All right. On behalf of Madison, Ellie, and Rasha, I'm Echo. Thank you.